Once upon a time, in a small, charming town, there lived a young student teacher named Sarah. She was enthusiastic about her future as an educator. But there was one daunting task that had her tossing and turning at night, creating her very first lesson plan. This was a mountain she needed to conquer, and she was determined to figure it out.
What am I going to do? Come on, Sarah, think! Think! You've been trying to do this now for a few days now, and tomorrow is the deadline. Get a grip of yourself, girl. You can do this. Fighting! Whew. How about something like this? Nah, that won't work. How about this? But it doesn't do it either. And this. No! Why is this so hard? Oh, God, please. Wishing star, leprechaun, Einstein, Newton, John Dewey. Anyone who can hear me, please, I beg you, help me.
Hola, Sarah. It seems like you need some help with your lesson plan. I'm here to assist you.
Who said that? Am I dreaming? Or is there a ghost?
No, silly. It's just us.
Look down, girl!
Oh.
Yes, girl. Anyway, I am Wise Notebook. And just like Pencil, I am here to help you. Don't worry, I have seen many lessons in my time. Therefore, you can definitely trust us. Let's start with the purpose of your lesson. Always remember that great lesson plan is like a masterpiece. It must be clear, precise, and concise.
That's right. A clear and meaningful purpose is like the lighthouse for your lesson plans. It will help you construct a clear set of learning objectives that lights the way for teachers to stay on course with their teaching methods and helping students navigate their own learning ship.
Girl, picture it like this. Imagine trying to build a house without a blueprint. Unclear learning objectives in your lesson plans are like missing blueprints. It can lead you using the wrong tools or materials, complex construction process, and no clear way to measure success. So clear objectives? Yes, they are your golden blueprint for writing a lesson plan.
Furthermore, due to the fact that learning objective serves as the blueprint or guide of teachers in writing every other part of the lesson, then an unclear learning objective most probably will result to a poorly written and disorganized lesson plan.
I think I get it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're trying to say here is that having a clear and meaningful purpose before creating a lesson plan is like a blueprint because it sets the foundation and structure for the entire teaching process, just like blueprint does for construction, right? So it ensures that the objectives and components are well defined and organized, leading to a successful and purposeful educational experience. Is that what you're trying to say?
See.
Yes! Finally, some progress! Gracias, pencil! Gracias, notebook!
You are welcome, Sarah.
No problem, girl. I'm glad to help you.
Remember, Sarah, since you choose a mathematics topic, then your purpose is to make mathematics come alive for your students and help them understand the significance of the topic in their everyday lives.
Copy that, pencil.
Girl, now that we have locked in your lesson's purpose, let's dive into the area of teaching methods at your disposal. These methods hold the power to craft a classroom experience that's not only productive but also enjoyable, fostering skills that endure a lifetime. Among these methods are the differentiated instruction, lecture-based teaching, technology-driven learning, individualized instruction, inquiry-based exploration, kinesthetic engagement, game-based adventure, and expeditionary discovery. Are you ready to explore these possibilities?
Yep. What do you think a among those are the more appropriate for mathematics?
Girl, in my opinion, each teaching tool is appropriate for your chosen learning area. Always remember that every teaching method is like a tool in a craftsman's workshop. It's not about having them, but how skillfully you use each one of them that determine the success.
Okay, got it, notebook. Thank you. Okay, so far we are done with the importance of having a meaningful and clear purpose of the lesson and the types of teaching methods I can use for my lesson plan. What's next?
Next for you to learn is how you can engage with your students more effectively.
Okay, so who will talk first?
Girl, no one wants to talk to you. Besides, our voice also needs some beauty rest, you know.
Beauty.
Stop laughing, ugly Sarah. Anyways, kidding aside, the one who will discuss in this are my brother, Highlighter, and my sister, Marker. Highlighter, Marker, it's your turn. Hi, here we go again. Highlighter, Marker, wake up.
We're up, notebook. Sorry, we worked late last night. Hi, Sarah. I'm Colorful Highlighter, and this is my sister, Marker.
Good morning.
We are the ones assigned to discuss your roles as you write your lesson plan to make it more engaging for your students. Specifically, you will need to be an entertaining introducer, an engaging facilitator, a competent evaluator, and a contemplative reflector. These roles will bring your lesson to life. You follow me, kid?
Yep, every last bit.
Good. Get comfortable on your seat because this is going to be quite a long talk. Let's first discuss your role as an introducer. No matter what time of the day it happens to be, jumping right into a lesson or lecture is rarely easy. Students take time to settle in and focus on what's going on. Kicking off with a warm-up activity can help to get everyone engaged and focused from the very start. For example, icebreakers of any kind can be the perfect way of doing this as they are time efficient while also offering you the opportunity to ask any type of question. Next is the facilitator. In the 21st century education, teachers are now recommended not to teach but to facilitate, not to provide but to guide them towards information reservoir and let them explore and expand their knowledge on their own. One of the most common ways to do this is to see technology as a tool, not as a distraction. Technology is a key component in education, and it will only become more ingrained in the culture of education as advancements in edtech and other related software continue. Making apps, software, and online tools as part of both of your classes and lectures, as well as resources for students to access, will not only help you to improve their in-class experience, but also their ability to study after the fact. Aside from that, you can also promote self-assessment using tools like formative assessments because teachers and lecturers don't need to be the only people to provide students with feedback. They can also assess their abilities. Other common ways to become an engaging facilitator is by brainstorming and sparking discussions in groups. You still with me, kid?
Yep, I'm still with you.
Let's see. Care to summarize what I just said?
So, to make my lesson plan more engaging to the students, I will need to play a few roles, namely an introducer, a facilitator, an evaluator, and a reflector. That's what you're saying, right? So far, you had discussed that the roles of an introducer and an facilitator. And to summarize it all, you said I need to start every lesson with a warm-up, such as an icebreaker, right? And not only for the sake of my students, but also for a smooth transition throughout my lesson. Meanwhile, to become an engaging facilitator, you said that I need to see technology as a tool to promote self-assessment and then use brainstorm and then spark discussions in groups.
Very good! The next thing we will discuss is how to be a competent assessor. Becoming an assessor requires a combination of education, experience, and skill. You need to have a deep understanding of the industry and the assessment process, as well as the ability to evaluate and provide feedback effectively. Furthermore, you also need to properly select the appropriate assessment tool for your learning objectives. Otherwise, you will not be able to accurately know of whether you met your learning objectives for that lesson or not. The last role you need to immerse yourself with is on becoming a contemplative reflector. Reflective teaching involves examining one's underlying beliefs about teaching and learning, and one's alignment with actual classroom practice on before, during, and after a course is taught. When teaching reflectively, instructors think critically about their teaching and look for evidence of effective teaching. This includes reflecting on the opinions or suggestions of your students and colleagues, alike regardless of whether it is pertaining to the lesson plan, the lecture conducted, or etc.
Wow, that's a lot to take in, but still very helpful. Thank you so much, highlighter. Thank you, marker.
Ready for your last lesson, kid?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, so if you're ready, then meet your discussers, ruler, eraser, and calculator.
Hola, nice to meet you all.
It's nice to meet you too, young Educadora. As you can see, I'm ruler, and I will discuss the first step of creating a lesson plan. Identify the learning objectives. This part essentially answers the question, what do you want your students to learn? Before you plan your lesson, you will first need to identify the learning objectives for the lesson. A learning objective describes what the learner will know or be able to do after the learning experience rather than what the learner will be exposed to during the instruction. Typically, it is written in a language that is easily understood by the students and clearly related to the program learning outcomes.
Good day, Sarah. I am Eraser, and I am one of in charge of discussing the second step in creating a lesson plan. Plan the specific learning activities. When planning learning activities, you should consider the type of activities students will need to engage in order to develop the skills and knowledge required to demonstrate effective learning in the course. Learning activities should be directly related to the learning objectives of the course and provide experiences that will enable the students to engage in, practice, and gain feedback on specific progress towards these objectives. You also need to keep in mind that each learning activity in the lesson must be: first, alignment is key. Your activities should march in step with your learning objectives. Each task or exercise should reflect what you want your students to achieve. It's like ensuring each puzzle piece fits perfectly into the larger picture you are creating. Second, engagement is essential. Learning should be active, meaningful, and collaborative. The classroom should be a dynamic space where students are not passive recipients but active participants. Think of it as the difference between watching a soccer game and actually playing on the field. Third, transferable skills. Each activity should be a building block for skills and knowledge that can be carried beyond the classroom. This means students gain practical skills they can use in the real world. It's akin to teaching them how to ride a bike so they can navigate the larger world of cycling.
Good morning, my dear. I am Calculator, but you can just call me Calcu or later. I will discuss the third step in writing a lesson plan. It is to plan to assess student understanding. This step answers the question, how will you know if your students have learned what you have taught? Assessment like tests, papers, problem sets, and performances provide opportunities for students to demonstrate and practice the knowledge and skills articulated in the learning objectives, and for instructor to offer targeted feedback that can guide further learning. Planning for assessments allows you to identify whether your students are learning. It involves making decisions about first, pick the right assessment. Choose the test and task that shows if students are nailing the learning objectives. Second, set the grading rules. Decide what it takes to get a grade of a B, or a C. Third, involve students. Let them decide or have say in how they are assessed. Fourth and last one, weight and combine. Figure out how each task affects the final grade, because it's like mixing the perfect recipe for your course success.
The last step of creating a lesson plan is to plan to sequence the lesson in an engaging and meaningful manner. For teachers who specialize in fields like science and mathematics, the 7E's lesson plan model is a popular choice. The 7E stand for the following. First, the elicit. Know before you teach. Start by finding out what your students know. It's like checking your backpack before a journey. You don't want to miss anything important. Second, engage. Curiosity unleash. Make learning a thrilling adventure. Ask big questions that spark curiosity. Remember, questions are the keys to knowledge. Third, explore. Hands-on fun. Dive into the action. It's like getting your hands dirty in the garden. Learning is best when it's hands-on. You're planting seeds of knowledge. Fourth, explain. Connecting the dots. This is where the aha moments happen. You're connecting the dots for your students, helping them see the bigger picture. As they say, knowledge shared is knowledge squared. Fifth, elaborate. Show what you know. It's time for students to shine. Like a chef, perfecting a recipe, they demonstrate their learning. Here, practice makes progress. Next, extend. Going the extra mile. Think of this as the bonus round. Students take their skills beyond the classroom. As the saying goes, the more you apply, the more you fly. Last, evaluate. Learning check. The final stage is like a reality TV show where contestants get their scores. Evaluate your progress. It's time to show what you know.
Now I have an outline on how will be my lesson plan.
And that is the end of our discussion. We hope we are able to help you in your dilemma, Sarah.
You certainly did. Not only did you help me today, but also in my future challenges. I don't know if I'm awake or not, but it cannot erase the fact that not only you aided me, but you also gave me the courage to continue fighting for my dream. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank you, mi amigos y amigas.
By the end of the day, Sarah had completed her first lesson plan with the help of her newfound friends. She had learned the importance of having a clear purpose, roles in lesson planning, and the step-by-step process. On the following day, she was able to pass her lesson plan to her mentor to check how each part was constructed and if there was any need of revision. Only after receiving the approval of her mentor, she was able to start preparing for her class where the implementation phase of her approved lesson plan occurred. From that day on, Sarah learned the importance of mentors in her journey on teaching. She realized that being a teacher also means being a student for life, and that, with her magical stationery items, she won't be alone on her journey of teaching lifelong learning.
So that's all for today, class. Thank you for listening and see you all on the next lesson.